Prince William abruptly halted internal palace plans after a confidential briefing raised serious concerns. The move shocked insiders and exposed deeper royal tensions, signaling that the future king isn't just observing anymore. He's already making powerful decisions behind closed doors. The decision that stopped everything. Prince William made a bold move, behind closed doors, but loud enough to stop palace operations in their tracks. After receiving a private and urgent briefing, he ordered an immediate halt to a quiet but powerful plan that had been circulating through senior royal channels. The decision, while not made public at the time, left palace insiders stunned and royal watchers scrambling for answers. The halted strategy wasn't about routine appearances or light scheduling tweaks. It was about the monarchy's future, a sweeping internal reform proposal touching the very structure of how the royal family operates in the modern world. Aides close to William described the moment as one of calculated seriousness. Within hours, meetings were cancelled, memos pulled, and long-term planning temporarily frozen. "It wasn't a disagreement," one source said. "It was a stop sign." What William's move revealed was striking. Though not yet king, he's already making powerful executive decisions. And his ability to pause the machine of monarchy, even briefly, showed how much influence he now holds. This wasn't just a tweak in direction. It was a signal that William is watching, and he's willing to intervene. The proposal under scrutiny. The plan that landed on William's desk wasn't minor. It was the kind of proposal that, if implemented, would have reshaped the monarchy's long-term future. Reports suggest it centered around William's vision for a modern, slimmed-down royal family, one focused on core working members and reduced ceremonial obligations. It reflected ideas he has quietly supported for years: fewer titles, fewer dependence on the sovereign grant, and a sharper focus on impact over tradition. Some palace aides were quietly enthusiastic. They saw it as a chance to modernize an institution often accused of being out of touch. But others, particularly among the more traditional ranks, felt deeply uncomfortable. For them, the proposal didn't just challenge logistics, it challenged identity. And William was reportedly unaware of just how deep that resistance ran. The private briefing that followed laid it all out: internal pushback, fears of alienating older royalists, and concern that the proposed model risked creating a monarchy that was too lean, too fast. One source described the proposal as forward-thinking but politically dangerous. For William, the message was clear: progress must come, but not without caution. What the private briefing revealed. The private meeting that triggered William's intervention wasn't emotional. It was strategic and blunt. Senior advisors laid out what hadn't been said in earlier discussions: that pushing forward with his reform plan now could damage the royal brand in a delicate moment. The monarchy was already under pressure, from King Charles's health, lingering public skepticism, and internal uncertainty. To introduce major change without full alignment, they warned, could fracture confidence both within the institution and in the public eye. The message was clear. William's ambition was admirable, but the timing was off. Among the concerns raised, public ceremonies might lose their impact if senior royals were reduced too quickly. A smaller royal family might appear distant or detached from everyday Britons. Certain Commonwealth nations, already questioning royal relevance, might interpret the move as disengagement. This isn't about the idea being wrong, an insider shared. It's about whether the public and the family are ready for it. The briefing didn't reject William's vision, but it served as a red flag. Reform without consensus risks backfiring. and that hit home harder than expected. Why William was alarmed. Prince William has never hidden his desire to evolve the monarchy, quietly steering conversations around relevance, service, and responsibility in a modern age. But the briefing revealed something he hadn't fully anticipated: internal resistance strong enough to derail his vision. For William, this wasn't just a policy disagreement, it was a wake-up call. Advisors cautioned that if he pushed ahead too quickly, it could trigger internal leaks, misinterpretations, and loss of control over the narrative. In a media environment where every royal move is dissected, even a well-meaning strategy could spiral into negative headlines. And with his father undergoing cancer treatment, the emotional and symbolic stability of the monarchy felt more fragile than ever. That fragility made speed feel risky. "William wants change," one source said, "but he doesn't want rebellion." Alarmed by how easily internal dissent could turn into public controversy, William made a rare move. He hit pause. It wasn't a retreat, it was a recalibration, and it showed he's willing to listen, adjust, and protect the institution, even when it means slowing down his own vision. The palace's internal rift comes to light. What began as a private review quickly exposed something deeper: a growing divide within the palace ranks. The halted plan revealed two clear factions: those pushing for measured, cautious evolution, and those fearful of any rapid shift away from tradition. It wasn't open conflict, but it was enough to signal that the palace is not united on the monarchy's future. Some senior courtiers quietly argued that reducing roles and reshaping the royal model could leave gaps in ceremonial life, weaken visibility in the Commonwealth, and alienate older supporters. Others, often younger advisors, believed the public would welcome a royal family that feels streamlined and grounded. Caught between those camps was William, the heir, the reformer, and the future face of the crown. The rift now carries potential consequences. If left unresolved, it could spark leaks, media missteps, or confusion in royal messaging. Even worse, it could stall other reforms already in motion. William now faces a choice: force his vision forward, or build broader consensus before trying again. One insider summed it up simply: "This wasn't just a pause in planning, it was a peek into how divided the palace really is." How the halt affected royal scheduling. Once Prince William called for the pause, the impact was immediate and noticeable. Major announcements tied to his future-focused strategy were quietly shelved. Engagements that had been planned to reflect a more modern, streamlined monarchy were suddenly pulled back or postponed. Senior staff were left scrambling behind closed doors to restructure weeks of planning. Calendars had to be rewritten. Messaging was adjusted. Invitations to key stakeholders were withdrawn without explanation. For some insiders, the halt created an air of uncertainty. They feared that losing momentum now could delay necessary reform indefinitely. But for others, the move was a sign of deliberate, thoughtful leadership. "It's better to pause than push something half the palace isn't ready for," one royal aide noted. The disruption also prompted broader questions about how the firm should communicate change going forward. William's desire to modernize is no secret, but how and when he does it may now depend as much on palace unity as public support. What started as an internal pause quickly became a palace-wide reset. The public reaction to the change of direction. News of William's decision to halt internal plans didn't stay behind the gates for long. Once word leaked that the palace had pulled back on key strategic rollouts, royal watchers and the public were quick to respond. Some saw it as a loss of confidence. Others saw it as a sign of real leadership. Social media exploded with speculation. Was William under pressure from traditionalists? Had he overreached? Was this about internal politics or external perception? "William blinked," said one critical commentator. But maybe he needed to. Supporters, however, praised his willingness to adapt. They argued that real leadership means knowing when to stop, listen, and reassess, even when the vision is your own. Inside royal fan communities, debates intensified. Was this the beginning of a more open, flexible monarchy? Or proof that the old guard still holds the reins? The truth may lie somewhere in the middle. But one thing was clear. William's decisions are now watched, measured, and discussed like those of a king in waiting. And every move, even a pause, matters. What this reveals about William's leadership style. This wasn't just a decision to halt palace plans. It was a window into how Prince William leads. Unlike past heirs who were often seen as figureheads until the crown passed to them, William is proving himself to be an engaged, strategic operator. He's not waiting for the throne. He's shaping what it will look like in real time. The choice to pause showed restraint over ego, strategy over speed. He didn't cling to a plan just because it was his. He listened to warnings, absorbed conflicting viewpoints, and made a judgment call. He's not trying to bulldoze tradition, one insider said. He's trying to bring it forward carefully. It also revealed a shift in his persona, from steady and silent to measured and tactical. The modern prince is no longer just walking behind his father. He's carving his own path, even when that means slowing down to get it right. This moment won't define his legacy, but it adds a layer to it. A leader who knows when to act and when to pause. The stakes behind the scenes. Beneath the decision to stop a plan lies a bigger truth. The monarchy is under pressure from all directions. King Charles's ongoing cancer treatment, public questions about royal relevance, and generational expectations have created a volatile environment. In this atmosphere, even small missteps can snowball into headline crises. William's paused strategy wasn't just about reform, it was about survival. The briefing revealed that internal divisions could easily spill into the public, risking narrative control, media trust, and long-term public faith in the monarchy's direction. One wrong move could make the whole system look unstable, a senior aide noted. The palace knows this moment matters. They're navigating transitions in leadership, image, and relevance, all at once. William's caution reflects more than personal humility. It shows he understands the stakes. This isn't just about what kind of king he wants to be. It's about whether the crown can carry its weight into the next era without cracking. What comes next after plans were halted? The dust may have settled for now, but Prince William's vision hasn't disappeared. It's simply being recalibrated. Insiders say he's already begun quiet conversations with a smaller circle of trusted advisors, aiming to reshape the original plan into something more widely supported. The next phase will likely include soft rollouts, private consensus building, and carefully chosen messaging. Rather than launching bold reforms overnight, William may opt for a step-by-step evolution, subtle changes that build trust internally before appearing publicly. One aide described it this way: he's not giving up the plan, he's refining it because he wants it to last. Observers will now be watching closely. What does William try next? How will the palace frame it? Will King Charles publicly support him? This pause may turn out to be a defining moment, not of failure, but of leadership. because in choosing patience over pressure, William just showed the kind of deliberate control that could shape the crown long before he ever wears it. William's pause wasn't weakness, it was strategy, and it may be the first of many bold moves still to come.